Welcome to the 249th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined by Chronicle executive editor Eric Schwartz, and recurring guest, back for the 6th, 7th time, helping us celebrate our milestone 249th episode.
It's the big one, baby.
And the first News Dump episode in the new studio, which we christened with Sports Dump last week, but didn't have time to do a News Dump.
How do we rate here to the past dump?
Did we actually introduce
You
Wayne
didn't.
Fournier?
You rambled on.
Go. Sorry.
You got excited about other things.
Well, you know, that's kind of how things go around here. But Wayne Fournier's here. He's been doing something of a media tour, and this is just his latest stop. We'll get to that in a minute, though. We're also sponsored by Summit Funding, Shields Outfitters, and The Roof Doctor. And what preambles do you guys want to hit?
Well, I had one quick thing to touch on. We're in the new building, obviously, some new policies and such, so I'm going to need Wayne to show his papers now. It's a Chad Taylor policy. We just want to make sure that we're not contributing to the undocumented population. So
that's right.
You got those on you, right?
Always, at all times.
You got your fireman card?
My fireman card, my red card, my green card, my pink card.
Well,
Yeah, pinko card, red card?
he doesn't like those either.
All right, Wayne's here. We've got some pressing questions for him about his media tour. But first, we got to do our preamble.
You got to give him a better intro than that. I know he's been on a bunch of times, but you didn't even say Thurston County Commissioner
Thurston
Wayne
County
Fournier,
Commissioner, Grace
former
Harbor,
Tenino Mayor,
Aberdeen firefighter, former Tenino Mayor,
anything?
Friend of the podcast?
Friend of the podcast.
Friend
Let's
of the
stick with that.
podcast.
This side of the podcast. See,
Yeah.
You're going to get that throat punch at any moment.
Any minute. But first, Wayne, how do you like our new studio?
It's beautiful. The lighting's good. The sound's good. We're in a bank vault, so it
Hell
feels
yeah.
very secure.
Still kind of smells like money in here, but I don't know if it's the money that was here or
How
if
would
it's
you-
Wayne.
how would-
and
how
his
would you
riches.
know?
His government-gained riches.
Yeah.
All right, so our first preamble. This is old news at this point. This story ran like almost 2 weeks ago, but it's the Morton City Council roundup where the police chief is accused of shutting down bars early on the last night of the Loggers Jubilee.
It got the people going.
Tensions were high at the Morton City Council meeting 2 weeks ago. Employees and an owner of local bars in town expressed outrage over the bars being shut down early, an hour and a half early, after a brawl that broke out between a group of 8 people, per the police report. And where are you guys at on shutting bars down early? Pro, con?
Well, former mayor of Tenino here was sharing a story.
I have been
that.
there before. We had some after a similar, they had Loggers Jubilee. We have Oregon Trail Days, and there was a time when a fight spilled out into the streets of Sussex and Central or something like that, and it turned into a riot. And John Hutchings was the police chief at the time, and he shut down all of the businesses in that area just to keep things safe.
Did you think about letting them, continue to just tire themselves out? Like that might have helped get all that energy out, and the winners prevail and stay at the bar. The others go home.
Yeah, no. You end up with broken windows. You end up things spill over into other issues. So, sometimes in those situations, you got to make a tough call and then figure it out later.
Was this the same Tenino incident where the tiger escaped and wreaked havoc after consuming meth, I believe, or cocaine?
That was a different incident.
Okay.
All right, so out in Morton, Chris Hatch and Conrad Amos are owners of a couple bars, it sounds like. One of them said he lost between $1,000 and $4,000 in potential revenue from everything being shut down early. He called it an overflex of power, but said other officers from the department have been coming up to him saying, "You did an excellent job." So
I would encourage them to learn from the situation, prepare next time. We would meet with all our bars before the Oregon Trail Days, and we would make sure that if they needed security, they would have that in place. And so just
You love to see
proactive.
the civic engagement, though, right?
it's wild that this is probably the most people have been to a Morton City Council meeting, despite all the other big headline items
such
going
thing as
on.
bad
Morningstar didn't draw this crowd.
But one of the other guys, Hatch, one of the bar owners, said that he felt this year's Jubilee Festival, which has a reputation of having rowdy athletes, was much more peaceful compared to Jubilees in the past, which is why he couldn't understand why they were shut down early. Another attendee added, "There are a lot more fights during last year's Jubilee, and bars were never shut down."
the riots weren't even that bad.
I love that take. You should have seen it last year.
I just liked the whole tone of they're attacking the police chief, and he kind of like stands up and starts defending himself. And that photo just has a feel of like he's like, "Now, Jim, you sit down right now. We talked about this."
I like the idea that the town is like, well, Roger Morningstar would have let us fight and drink all night.
He would have been sexually harassing well past 3 a.m.
He wouldn't have trampled on my rights.
or protected them, but you know.
So that was our only preamble I wanted to hit.
I appreciate you humoring
story.
me there. I got a lot of joy out of that story. I thought Owen did a good job on it.
It was a good one. But now for news items, and our first one. Thurston County Commissioner proposes ordinance in response to Bear Gulch Fire immigration arrests. This is a story about Wayne Fournier, who is with us today.
Hey, that's me.
What luck. He released an official statement Wednesday regarding the Bear Gulch incident. Wildfire firefighters and agency staffers told Stateline.org. Was this Alex's story?
Yeah,
Alex
Alex Brown, former Chronicle reporter Alex Brown.
That they believe top officials assigned to the fire deployed the crews under, quote, false pretenses so federal agents could check their immigration status. According to Wayne, the proposed ordinance would accomplish three things. It would designate active emergency operations as non-interference zones, require federal law enforcement to coordinate with the designated incident commander before taking any action, and guarantee due process and ID protections for all responders, regardless of background or employment status. Those seem like good ideas across the board, but specifically for the fire situation. So, non-funny Bill Burr, why don't you explain this to us?
So something happened, and I'm trying to reframe and get everybody to understand this is not a partisan issue. It's really, really hard to have a discussion about anything today without somebody, dipping into this like duality that exists on every issue, and then whoever brings it up, like we need to be able to take an idea on merit alone and pick it up and consider it. And for me, this isn't. I'm not trying to wade into immigration policy issues. That's for Congress to debate. But it's real simple. When you're a firefighter, you are raised on the idea that you should not have any outside interference when you're trying to bring an emergency to its end. And the details I don't care about. There's a time and a place to stop and detain people and question them. And when they're in an active emergency, that's not it. And then some of the press releases that I saw coming out, I thought they were absolutely stupid when they were issuing a statement saying these people were not firefighters, and I'm looking at pictures of them in fire gear, carrying equipment, covered in smoke.
At the site of an active fire.
At the site of an active fire, and there's incident action plans for 2 weeks that detail these crews actively working on the fire line and mopping up fire. Mm-hmm. It's absurd. So I don't like being lied to. I don't like being gaslit, and that pissed me off. So I stood up, and the statement I made, it seems to have hit a chord with a lot of people. It has over like almost 17,000 shares on your Facebook page. It's got 10,000 likes, and I'm getting national attention in the media for this. It was in a big fire department industry magazine today. I've got state reps that are trying to push this as a statewide bill. They're talking about federal policy changes because of the statement that came out. And so I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about that.
So we did mention your media tour. You were on Jason Rantz earlier today?
I was on Jason Rantz earlier today, and then at Q13.
Was he better than us?
Nobody's better than you guys.
He's just saying that.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
And then I mentioned this to you off mic, but all this attention, you angling for higher office, big guy? You moving on up?
No, I'm enjoying talking about this. This is the most firefighter move a firefighter legislator could make. Yeah. I'm saying police don't belong on our fire scenes. This is an age-old discussion that we have, and we rant at the fire station tables about this for hours. Right. Those cops need to stay off our fires. I'm just doing this at a higher level, and I'm trying to make it an official policy. I'm bringing an end to this fire table discussion.
And you're uniquely, prepared to do that. Uniquely suited for this specific situation.
This is my moment.
Yeah, this is right in your wheelhouse.
This is in my wheelhouse.
I want to talk to the duality that you talk about there, because as a media organization, something we face more and more because of the same things you just lined out is you get a news story, okay, firefighters arrested at a fire or, detained at a fire for being illegal aliens is how the federal government would put it. And the first thing that happens after that news goes out is like, no, actually, they're not firefighters.
That was spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. Federal overreach is federal overreach. If we were on here, I wasn't a county commissioner during the pandemic, but if I would have come up with a similar ordinance during the pandemic that said your vaccine mandate is not going to be a requirement when it comes to emergency scenes, it's the same idea and the same concept, and the other side would have been enraged.
Right.
It's like, come on, you guys, stop acting like children. Just look at an idea at face value. I don't care. This has nothing to do with Trump. This has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. This is about putting public safety first and making sure that firefighters can do their jobs without being effed with.
And I think I get your point that it's not political and say it's not political. They come out with that statement, in my opinion, because there's a whole segment of people who are fans of the immigration push that don't care. Like, they wouldn't care if they walked into a hospital and arrested a woman delivering a baby. Like, they wouldn't care. But then there's this other pocket of people that support it but would not support it happening to a firefighter, right?
Yeah. Well,
so you come out and you say they're
business.
not firefighters, and you just muddy the waters.
Muddied the water, but that seems to have been rolled back. I think everybody is acknowledging that these people were contracted. Mm-hmm. They were certified as firefighters. They were contracted to come and fight fire. They were fighting fire for 2 weeks straight until the very last day of their contract, and then they were sent down a dead-end road to be met by Border Patrol. And then to say they're not firefighters is lying, and that was gaslighting. To say that it didn't interrupt fire operations is stupid too. That fire, you track its progress. It went from 13% contained a couple days later after that incident down to 9% contained, and it's costing $650,000 a day to run that fire. So slowing down, derailing that operation at all costs all of us taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're pro-immigration, you can still be pro, being fiscally intelligent, and just running up numbers like that is stupid. They weren't there hurting, killing, raping people. That nobody's saying that. There is some speculation, or there's some rumor that there's some time card issues. I don't know the exact details of that, but those happen all the time on fires, and they're handled internally by the accounting teams. If a contracting crew is coming through representing or putting in time cards that have overages on them, that gets caught in the fire camp, and the contractor doesn't get paid that money. If at the end of a fire day, you come back to camp, you hand in your timesheet, it gets verified by your crew boss. Your crew boss takes that to your division soup, who works for like the Forest Service or DNR, and they verify it. They go, yeah, Eric was out on the fire from 0800 to 1400. Sign here, and then they can take it into the time unit. Sometimes, maybe they'll say, well, we worked through lunch, and the division soup will be like, no, you didn't. I saw you guys sitting there on your laurels during lunch, and there'll be a dispute, and it's handled.
Got you.
So and the way it's never been handled in the history of fire fighting is the Border Patrol comes in and enforces your time cards. That's absurd.
I want to drag it back because I know what you meant, but you said, I think everybody's accepted that they're firefighters now. I haven't seen a statement from the feds that says they're firefighters. I haven't seen a statement from State Rep Jim Walsh, the GOP chair, that says they were firefighters. I haven't seen a statement from
but they're not saying
prominent local Republican Ruth Peterson, who was the Chronicle is lying. They're saying that they're firefighters. All these newspapers are lying. You get Jim Walsh.
They've softened up on that. They've softened up on that. They're not going to come out and say, "Oh, guys, we're wrong." But
that's
they have softened up.
They don't, and the public does not follow it like you do. So I guarantee you, 6 months from now, if you were to go up to Joe Public and someone who's aware of it and say, "Hey, remember when those firefighters were arrested?" You're going to have a huge chunk of people like, "No, they weren't," because they saw what Jim Walsh.
That's why I had to stand up and say
something. It's a person they trust. They saw the federal government. It's a government they trust, and. That
when
was
my
did we start
trusting the government? That's what. Okay, that's the other thing that's weird to me.
All
it's
of
like
this is getting to a point.
I'm like, are we trusting the government now? I don't like no.
I get you.
And like don't tread on me. I thought that's basically what I'm saying. Is like, hey, don't tread on us.
We're at a different spot. I feel like you believe if you want to believe anything you want, and that's why I was driving at a big thank you, because when we got your statement, it was someone with some expertise that could actually give us some information, because we're reliant on what we get. And so if we're told 2 firefighters are arrested, and that's what the story says, So I just wanted to say thank you for that. I know you've gotten good attention out of it, and I think that's good for a politician. I don't think that's what motivates you, but overall, it was a win for truth in my book. And
if I can turn this into a federal policy, that is, I mean, that, as far as like, boxes to check in my political career.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah,
that would mean I have accomplished much.
So moderately pleasing the Chronicle's editor and associate editor is not on that list?
It's always on that list.
You can double check it.
Yeah, double check it.
All right. Anything else on the fire situation, Wayne? Do you have any other big media appearances booked?
Well, there's some San Francisco newspapers that want to talk. I don't know, for whatever reason they're interested in it. But I would imagine that as this becomes a topic for statewide legislation and potentially federal policy, this is going to be something I'm talking about for a while.
Good. All right, next item, a little less exciting.
That was exciting. Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Sales tax causes problems for Lewis County 911 Center during a meeting on Monday, September 28th, according to the story. That date hasn't occurred yet.
That is, my bad. My bad. This place needs an editor.
Lewis County staff informed the Board of Commissioners that a shortfall of more than $600,000 needed to finish a series of infrastructure improvements in the county existed. It stems from a couple errors, including failure to consider sales tax and project cost increases pushed through without approval from the Board of Commissioners. I like the idea that surely this wouldn't happen if they would have just run it by the commissioners. And then the budget comes just as the region has completed all the paperwork to finally make Lewis County 911 an agency independent of the Lewis County government, and just as a newly assembled executive board is looking to hire a new executive director. Is this a big deal? You guys know more about this than I do. My initial was deal. They'll figure this out.
It felt like moving around some money to me, and it also felt like maybe the commissioners didn't get the chance to provide approval for something that they were supposed to. Expenditures over $350, I think, or what that was. It confused me, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I got the overall thing, but I don't think that anyone's wringing their hands over it. And
it looked like the money was just
a disaster,
more misplaced than missing.
Yes, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, Wayne, you ever lose $600,000?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It ended up in Nigeria. We got it back, though.
Did you know the answer to that question when you
asked?
I
Thanks, Aaron.
It's insensitive. You're trying to knock him down a peg or two?
We made money on that.
You were riding awfully high when you came in here. Next item, Green Hill School receives 3 safety violations following L&I inspection. The first one, which was officially deemed a serious violation, quote unquote, stated that DCYF, the agency that runs it, quote, did not ensure an exposure evaluation was conducted to determine or reasonably estimate employee exposure to smoke. What kind of smoke are they discussing?
A little bit of fentanyl smoke, probably. Probably. I mean, the other thing that has to be mentioned here is this was a small news item. On the same page was the former director of the DCYF's child prisons or young adult prisons, whatever you prefer to call them.
Mm-hmm. Is that Ross Hunter?
His kind of
his predecessor.
Yeah, no, like his juvenile detention czar, if
deputy,
you will.
Kind of.
Yeah. I think she filed a $4.25 million whistleblower claim that she was done away with because she brought up some of the many issues that have dragged that thing around. So I just wanted to note this is a very small thing. Like it would be
$2,700 fine.
Yeah, it's not like huge news at all. But we had a resident send it to us, and it's not really our policy to just ignore that and not get it in the paper. But the big news would be the $4.25 million claim.
Okay. And then the only other news item I have, which I did not go very far back when preparing these notes last night. I know you don't
put a whole lot of effort into these things, Aaron.
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But I liked the Cedar Creek Corrections Center hosts summer camp for incarcerated men and their family story. I thought it was kind of heartwarming.
Yeah, no, I likewise really enjoyed that story. They invited us out, so Jacob Farmer, our reporter, and Ridley went out. I especially liked Ridley's photos on that. Lots of photos of kids enjoying time with parents, grandparents that are incarcerated. They're not going to be incarcerated for long if they're at Cedar Creek. I don't remember the exact length, but that's for short-term holding for folks that are going to be out soon. And I agree with you. I like that story.
And a lot of them spend time fighting fires at Cedar Creek.
Really?
Yep, that is like when I see this one of the individuals was arrested. He had a prior methamphetamine offense, and I'm like, well, probably 60% of the people in a fire camp have similar convictions because they're all incarcerated while they're there.
Right.
They make big money doing that too, right?
I mean, the
It's like a
inmates,
prorated. Yeah.
they make a little bit of money.
That's
But
what I
I mean,
was
as
driving
far
at.
as like, when you're incarcerated and you're working, that's a very good job.
Can I throw you for a loop?
Sorry
and
to bring
maybe
you back to that.
No,
maybe
no,
you
you're
know
good.
nothing about it, but our other paper, The Reflector, the big news last year, the year before, was Larch Mountain shutting down
Yeah.
in that firefighting unit. Is that having any impact on ability to fight fires?
That is relevant to this whole discussion because the state changed some rules where the incarcerated pay rates went up, and so it seems like the use of inmate labor has gone down, and the backfill for that has been these private contracted crews that were some of the ones that were detained, and a lot of those folks do come from tree planting crews or timber crews, and so a lot of them are like migrant laborers and things like that. So that you're seeing, if you're in fire camp 20 years ago, 60% of the type 2 hand crews would have been inmate labor. Now, and I don't do these fire camps anymore. I don't like leaving the pavement. Now you're in fire camp, and apparently you're seeing like 60% of the folks are, Hispanic, like, forestry workers.
I mean, one more question for you, and it's political too, but when Trump came into office, all the federal cuts, which are still ongoing, I read a lot of stories on this summer fire season is going to be extremely difficult because, X, Y, or Z will pay cuts to the U.S. Forest Service. Is that something that in your talks with fellow firefighters, are they experiencing anything like that? Or because I hate conjecture on those stories. Yeah. We might have ran some of them, but I have found over time that a lot of that is just guessing and
lack of resources. I haven't heard anything about about resource depletion, but just because they remove that money from the budget doesn't mean we're not going to spend that money.
Got you.
The Bear Gulch Fire was at like $40.5 million that it's costing the state so far. That money's going to get spent, whether it's in the budget or not.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's also like I feel like it's a little too soon to determine that, to like really, like government usually operates if there's money allocated for something for a year or however a cycle.
The pain is felt 2 years
the
later.
next one will come down the line where there's not enough money to cover something.
I think like in national media, you get a lot more projecting of like this move is going to cause this because you need the talking heads to come in and talk about it. I think like over time you can lose credibility by making that your model. So that's why I dislike those stories.
Well, it's like when your wife tells you she's reducing your allowance. You don't feel it right that day, but the next day when Wednesday rolls around and you're going to Burger King and you're
It's usually
short.
Thursday or Friday, yeah. I usually run. I really live high in the hog Monday through Wednesday. Fridays could be rough.
Do you want to hit other news items I have missed now or
just
later?
one, and we'll do a run through at the end. But I'm kind of proud of this story from Jacob Farmer. It's on the cover of tomorrow, Tuesday edition of the Chronicle. Slain Rochester dog trainer Curtis Gordon, remembered for love of animals and family. So this is kind of like the delayed follow-up to Kraftwerk canine owner Wayne Curry, who's charged in his death. He shot him in the head during a recording of an advertisement. Had a live bullet. There's a lot you could say about this. What I appreciated from the reporter in this one is he doesn't, and it's mostly about Curtis Gordon and his life. Sat down with his former fiance and his younger sister last week. Ridley got some photos as well, and I just thought Farmer did a great job. It's a good read. Good Thurston County story for you.
I'll take a look.
Cool. All right, let's take a quick break.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met Jacek of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back. Wayne is still with us.
Hey.
And we're moving on to segments. And first up is Tales from the Takes page. And we're starting off with Brian Mitke, who writes about a local veteran's trip to Ground Zero at the Pentagon.
Yeah, that was a good one. September 11th time.
Yeah.
Another good reason to have Wayne in here as a firefighter.
Yeah.
Do you know of any, like, what's this anniversary now? It's 24?
Wow, you've forgotten.
No, I did. It's 24th. This is the 24th, right? I can recall for years there was something for us to cover every year.
Yeah.
And to that to that point, I don't want to say it's been forgotten, but I don't know of any local events, no 9/11 events.
The first responder potluck barbecue in Tenino this coming weekend.
Good. Okay.
There you go.
Tell us all about it.
John O'Callahan, one of the local city council members and fire commissioners, started, I want to say, over a decade ago, doing a potluck barbecue this weekend, the weekend following 9/11, just to show appreciation. He tells everybody it's not a political event, has nothing to do with politics or anything like that. He just likes to get everybody together, have a potluck barbecue, and say thank you to the first responders. And this is his last year in office, so it's kind of a big deal. He's handing it off to Castle Realty to sponsor from now on and organize, but it's a big deal to John. It's a big deal to the community. And the fact that you say that no one else is doing anything anymore, that's pretty cool that John's still.
I'm not aware of. I'm not aware of a lot of things.
No. I'm not saying that.
I could find out like 10 tomorrow.
Yeah, you probably could. But John is out there pushing it. He's
Okay.
pushed it every year, and he does it for the right reasons. So I'm glad that I got to plug it.
Good. We'll try to get out there and cover that too, because I don't think we've covered that. If we have, it's been several years, and that'd be a good one. And Callahan or O'Callahan?
O'Callahan, after something like 30 years in office, I don't know the exact number. He's hanging his hat up at the end of the year. He's been in office just about my entire life.
He was Oregon Trail Days Grand Marshal this year.
He was, because of that.
I was there. Where were you guys?
I was playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wayne, were you also playing
I
golf?
was putting out fires.
Illegally, probably.
Yeah.
All right. Our next column, boy, comes from a certain county commissioner who is not here with us today. Sean Swope looked in the mirror and said, you know what? The haters are talking. They're saying, Sean, there's no way you can possibly write something even dumber, even more ill-informed, even worse than your last column. And then he delivered The Neo-Confederate Drift of Blue States, a column in which he writes extensively about the Civil War and the Confederacy for, how many words is this, 800 words?
I don't know. It's a typical column.
How many times does he use the word slavery?
I don't believe he does in this
Not
column.
once,
No.
Which is a point made by somebody else who I won't mention. But wild that you can take a look back in history to that trying time, that black eye on America's past, and be like, you know what? There's lessons to be learned there, and slavery ain't one of them.
I didn't think you'd be a big fan of that column, Aaron. In fact, I know that there was quite a few people that were not fans of that column. We got some letters about it.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that even John McCroskey would be like, Jesus, are you sure?
Really? I don't know about that
wait.
take. I don't know about that take.
I use my usual AI mantra on this, which is if I think somebody didn't actually write their column, then I'm not going to be bothered to read it.
Dude, I feel like that's getting a little tired. I don't sense any AI vibes off of that. I feel like any column you don't like these days, you personally, you're just like, oh, AI, strikes
I
again.
don't think Sean Swope could define neo-Confederate politics if you put a gun to his
I
head
think
and
he
told
could.
him
I don't think
he had to fight his own brother.
I don't think he used AI. And I'm not someone, I'm doing this because that's a very common retort these days to anything you don't like. And I am on the lookout for it. We do run things through filters. I don't think that that's the case there. My takeaway from it was more like I get whiplash every 4 years from one party acting in a certain way, then the other party gets in power and they accuse the other people of doing the exact same things. Like it's exhausting for me. I don't think we're at risk of the blue states seceding from the Union, for instance. I do think that you're going to just continue to have the same tip-tap of
I think
points.
that the discussion about all this congressional redistricting
Yeah.
does create the situation
I
for
get that.
drift. I wouldn't use the words that he used in his article. I think it's worth reading. And I read it, and I want to read it a couple more times to try to deconstruct it.
Yeah.
But I don't have time for that.
And I'm not even sure whether that wasn't even a point for him, was it?
Yeah, it's
The
kinda like when
redistricting?
you're
No, but
in
I
park-
think that is a point.
No,
that
I'm
could
s-
have been made
Yes,
in that is
yeah.
that there will be
But to
a
be
drift
clear, he didn't
if there's
touch that.
congressional redistricting like Texas and California are talking about, and everybody jumps on board to do the same thing. Yes, you'll see drift.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I was just
That's what
making
I
the-
expected when I
I
was
know,
reading
I was
his
saying he
article.
didn't
I was like,
go
oh, this,
there.
I want to read Sean's evaluation of that conversation, but that wasn't what was in there.
Yeah, it was more immigration policy, things of that. Just disagreeing with federal enforcement. I don't know. I didn't find it that one compelling either. But
It's an interesting take that you must obey your higher up political powers from Sean Swope, who spent the entire COVID pandemic arguing that Lewis County in no way needed to follow guidance from the state.
Yeah, that's where my mind went as well. I also thought it seemed like a case of someone learning a new word and wanting to get it into a column headline. I don't mean
there
to,
is a
I'm
first
not
time for everything.
No, and I do not mean that as an insult. I mean neo-Confederate, provocative. You see that and you're like, oh, okay, I can write around that. That's kind of how I thought. I don't think he entered neo-Confederate into ChatGPT and was like, pump out 800 words a beat.
You're on a streak of learning new words. It's time to give Wayne the test.
Which test?
Wayne, are you familiar with the novel Wuthering Heights?
No.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Real? God damn it.
He was trying to make me feel like a fool last night, and so he asked the bartender, and the bartender was also like, "What? Wuthering Heights?" Now we probably
What's
look
the
like
new word?
we probably look like idiots though.
Wuthering Heights. It's just like a big classic English novel.
But what's the new word?
Wuthering.
Withering is the new word.
Wuthering.
Withering or
Christ.
withering?
It's wuthering,
Wuthering.
with a U.
Do you know the word for new word? Neologism.
Yeah.
There's a new word about a new word.
Mate,
Did you just Google Neo things?
No.
he was trying
guy?
to do his. What is? Does wuthering have a meaning?
It's just the name of the.
It has no, and it's provocative, but it
No,
means
used
nothing.
to
Wuthering
dis-
Heights is just the name of the.
Used to describe a wind that is blowing very strongly, or a
There you
place
go.
where the wind blows strongly.
That's withering,
The
though.
wuthering wind of the moors sent a
Are
chill
you
down
saying
my
withering or withering?
spine. Wuthering with a U.
Jesus. This is the exact same conversation we had last night.
Are you aware of Wuthering Waves?
No.
It's a 2024 free-to-play open-world action role-playing game.
Well, I would imagine
You
Wuthering
If you
Heights.
were aware of it, you should deny all knowledge.
What? It's got a 4.5 on Google
If
Play.
any listeners have heard of Wuthering Heights, let me know.
Likewise, Wuthering Waves.
Nobody has ever played that game that you probably just made up.
Likewise, reach out. Aaron will play you in Wuthering Waves for an hour if
I will
you
not.
reach out and you're aware of it.
Anyway, Julie McDonald also had a column about wolves.
Yeah.
Wuthering wolves at Wolf Haven, offering a better life for captive wolves.
This is
I
all
like
about
this.
my district.
I know. I love that Wolf Haven
Wouldn't
is right
you notice the Chronicle is always in that zone?
I try to keep it that way.
Yeah. We try to
Feed
as
you
well.
guys. Wolf Haven is incredible, and one thing that is really cool that they're working on there. Here I am plugging a Wolf Haven. They are working on a treehouse at their sanctuary.
Go on.
That is going to be made by the gentleman that was on that treehouse TV show.
Oh,
that would
cool.
travel all over the country making these incredible treehouses, and it will be like a big learning center that'll sit up in the kind of the canopy above Wolf Haven, where you go up there with classrooms and kids and be able to teach them about wolves, and it's really cool because they also call Wolf Haven Raven Haven. So if you go there, it is full of ravens and it is full of wolves, and you'll get to just be kind of in the middle of it all with that treehouse. It's going to be pretty neat.
It sounds like the site of a classic Gothic novel, but neither of you would know shit about that.
Wuthering Wolf Haven.
Aaron thought that you were going to say the wolves are making the treehouse. I could tell.
So this is going to be like, are they going to do like a glass bottom in this treehouse so you can look down on the wolves?
I don't believe it's a glass bottom. They're just going to be
Still
up in the
gonna be
trees.
sick.
That's pretty cool.
It will
Yeah,
be
that's
cool.
very cool.
Yeah, run through a couple other headlines. Chehalis native Georgie Kunkel celebrates 105th birthday, a mid-year of loss. This is one of our last Rosie the Riveters. She doesn't live locally. Doris Beer was our last local one, but she used to live here, so Julie McDonald did an update on that. Zach Eckstein, it's time we stop footing the bill for unfunded mandates. That's his latest column. That'll be out Tuesday. Well, it'll be on Cronline already. Chris Johnson from the Association of Washington Businesses has rushed sales tax law will raise costs for all Washingtonians. And then we kind of had a big surge of letters in the last few weeks. So lots of letters. 3rd Congressional District isn't Trump country. It's populist country. Time to quit publishing whining MAGA letters.
Okay.
Those who plan death for others forfeit their liberty and rights. Become a friend of the Vernetta Smith Library.
Is that the same letter?
No, these are all different.
Oh.
Is cruelty and malice the new normal in America?
Yes.
And here's one you'll enjoy. Letter to the editor, The Chronicle's commentary problem.
I read
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
I like that one. We've got some comments on that in comments of the week.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, hey, I'm trying to fill that void.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing it well enough. I mean, like that person do they not read my opinion columns?
I don't know. Our letters are kind of right now, and it goes with whoever's in office. We get more letters from the opposite party. It's been like that for like 10 or 15 years. So
Am I
our
too
letters
moderate?
right
Am I too moderate to fill that void that you guys are being identified?
You got to
as
take some
leading?
big swings. Like, I don't know.
Look at me. I'm in the national newsroom. I have entered the national debate. I'm taking a big swing.
Free cars for everybody, something like that.
Zach Eckstein's the Lewis County Democrats chair. He writes a fairly regular column.
Okay.
I gotta get this Facebook comment in now while we're discussing this letter.
Right.
It might actually be on a different letter, but one of the comments was, and yet the mega crowd will say the Cron is a liberal rag, and the reply to that was, well, it is. If you look at conservative versus liberal letters to the editor, they post 1.2 times more liberal letters than conservative letters, probably to drive engagement more so because they want them an agreement with the viewpoints, but still, personally, I know they haven't posted a single one of my own, which means that out of the 11 letters to the editor, they haven't posted one.
Who's the
they
name
will
on
post
this?
every single one from the Lewis County Democrat.
Who's the name on that?
I'll send it to you.
Oh, you
I
got
have
to.
it
'Cause
somewhere.
if I'm missing letters, I want to get them. I feel
Put
sometimes.
them all out at once. All 11.
I
Just
like
publish
this guy's-
all 11.
The math, the 1.2 times more. and
Somebody
then
dug into that.
I know they won't post as many conservative letters because I've written 11 of them. They haven't posted one, which means like maybe your letters aren't that good, pal.
No, that's not it at all. A lot of our letters aren't that good. You know that. Oh, I was gonna make this. I thought about this over the weekend after I feel like a bouncer at like the most open access club of all time. Like you just need to be like alive, but like. Instead, the line as it's moving forward, they look in and they're like, they see like two Republicans in the doorway, and they're just like, "You don't let any Democrats in here," or like vice versa. Because man, yeah, we do get it both ways. That's a good comment. And 1.2, that might be it. I would have said like 2 to 1.
He could have meant like 1 to 2, but look, his typing wasn't great. Which I'll kind of explain. Maybe that's why your letter didn't get posted, pal.
No, that's not it. There's never been a time where I looked at a letter and been like, "This letter sucks. I'm not gonna run it." There have been times.
There hasn't?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's some that were just factually, and there's some that run that are. Depending on your collection of facts,
You just kinda hold your nose
there are some where if you got an F-bomb in it, I can't do much with that, and like
I don't know. I feel like
I was going to drop the
like you're
F-bomb
getting
on
closer.
Jason Rant's show today. That was my plan, and I told my assistant that I was going to do that. He's, "You better not." I was like, that was another one of my boxes I want to check. I want to be beeped.
you probably get an FCC violation.
I want to be beeped.
Do they have you on a delay?
I don't know. I don't know how that
Straining your
works.
takes? I
Yeah.
like that.
All right.
Anyways, that's that.
Yeah.
There's more letters. I only like skimmed the surface. It's been a big week for letters.
I feel like you're getting closer to that line of letting an F-bomb fly in the letters to the editor. Like, just the wrong day, you're just going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah, if it was done artfully enough, I'd probably have to do it.
I said D-bag in one of my opinion columns.
Yeah, no, we've
not
let
I was
that
really
stuff.
proud of that.
We're just commonly printing shit now.
Yeah, it does go in. The late Bill Schulte was the first one to get a shit in the paper.
Oh, he had
right.
like the big headline, didn't he?
Yeah.
I had a scheme to say shit on, it was Cairo. When I set up this big thing to do a walkthrough of a wastewater treatment plant and talk about like human excrement.
Oh,
and
yeah,
how it
that
can be
was your
used.
jam for a while
The whole reason I did that, and I had worked it out with the reporters because I was going to just nonchalantly say shit throughout the whole thing, and they would be beeping me.
Oh, that would've been great.
It would have been hilarious.
That would've
And we
been
had
good.
it all worked out, and they cut it all out in the editing floor. Yeah. All that
dirty
work for
TV
nothing.
reporters.
Yeah.
Editors are no fun.
All right. And then our news segment, History Should Repeat Itself. This is from 1935. Mysterious sign on the Pacific Highway near the border of Thurston and Pierce counties warning would-be murderers, drivers of cars, to do their killing in either Pierce or Lewis counties because to do it in Thurston County would result in sure death at the hands of Superior Court judges John M. Wilson and D.F. Wright.
That was a sign?
What do you think DF's initial stood for?
don't
Damn
know.
fucking right.
Could have been.
The sign was owned by Thurston County prosecutor Smith Troy and advised southbound motorists.
I'm guessing that was Troy Smith.
Wasn't there an auditor? Oh, that was somebody else. And advised motorists heading into Thurston County to kill before they cross county lines, lest they face the wrath of the judges. A portion of the sign's text stated, if you don't like Pierce County, you may pass on through Thurston County and do your killing in Lewis County. Killing people in this county is looked upon as about the same as double parking or operating a car without a driver's license. In extreme cases, possibly as severe as stealing chickens. Well, thank goodness murder is now taken seriously in Lewis County, and such a sign would be considered the height of tomfoolery.
Oh, man. When you cross into Lewis County, Wayne, do you feel like your chances of getting murdered pop up a little bit, or do you feel safer?
I'm rolling the dice every time I get down here.
You just take a deep breath and don't breathe until you get through
Lock
the other side.
and load.
Yeah, I know every time when I'm driving home from work, once I cross into town, I let a big sigh of relief and be like, all right, if I hit anybody now, I'll be fine.
It did feel like the old nothing new under the sun, because we had the signs pop out after Aaron Christensen all around town, including one in front of the Chronicle that was a very similar message. It was just like, do you remember what
How to get away with murder, or where to get away with murder, or
Lewis
something?
County, something like that. So
Yeah.
completely unrelated thing 90 years later is wild.
How do we segue into the Roof Doctor?
I mean, if you're trying not to be murdered from above, it would be really helpful if
To
you
have a good
had-
solid roof
Yeah.
over your head.
There you go.
And the Roof Doctor can help you out. Visit theroofdoctor.com. The Roof Doctor has offices all over the place. They've got Bremerton, Chehalis, Hoquiam, Longview, Olympia, Shelton, Tacoma. I feel like I'm missing a couple there. But they also offer solar now, which is a big deal. Did we get solar on the roof here? That's coming, right? Coming
I can't
soon?
see the roof, so I don't know for sure. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I know it was being explored at one point, and I do know that the fine physicians at the Roof Doctor have done a colonoscopy, if you will, on the roof that is above us.
And the doctor
They found it
prescribes
porous. No, I'm just joking.
and like and like your what's the butt doctor? Well, like your proctologist, the Roof Doctor also prescribes a daily dose of sun.
There you go.
Visit theroofdoctor.com again, or give them a call 360-736-0246.
I'm sitting on a 4.7 on 5 stars on Google reviews, too. I could roll through those if you'd like, but I think we've exhausted most of them.
Yeah, I think we've hit most of those a few times.
I've scrolled this entire time and have seen nothing but 5 stars, though, so I don't know where we lost that 0.3.
I don't have a People's Champion of the Week. You got
don't?
anybody? You got anybody good?
Man, I would have if I had time to, research. Let me just take a look at the recently uploaded stuff. We'll go with this one. It's not really a hero of the week individual, but we had a fun story over the weekend, so I'll use it for that. Softball tournament provides celebration and remembrance for Lewis County Drug Court community.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Moore and Otto Rabe went down to Toledo, and basically a bunch of alumni groups from various drug and therapeutic courts, not just here. I know Pierce County had a team there. Thurston County might have. I'm not sure. And they just played a softball tournament, and I thought Jacob did a nice job. They did some honoring of a couple gentlemen who passed from overdoses after successfully getting through the drug court program a couple years ago. And yeah, it looks a lot of fun. The photos are a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. So Lewis County Drug Court, Hero of the Week.
And then I also don't have a Sirens Banger of the Week.
You don't have a Sirens Banger of the Week, huh?
I saw one or two that were kind of fun, but not quite as interesting as I thought. You'd get on your usual, like, oh, it's the worst day of somebody's lives. What are you going to make a joke about it?
Yeah, no, I scroll here. We did have quite a bit of crime last week. I think it was the most packed prelims in Lewis County Superior Court that we've had in a long time. And I know some of that was of interest, and now I'm clearly just buying time. Here we go. Suspect was hiding in attic under insulation in Tenino, Thurston County Sheriff says.
There we go again.
There we go. It was on Friday, and this is an Olympian story, a Rolf Boone joint, really a Sheriff Sanders joint that has been repackaged into a Rolf Boone joint. It's really hard to scoop the sheriff. It can't be done.
You can't.
But we were hearing about this standoff during deadline on Friday, and it eventually led to 2 men being arrested, one of which was in an attic and had to be pried down. Initially, they said shots fired, but it turned out, no, not shots fired, but a victim was beaten with a metal pipe. So they ended up getting there.
Real hilarious.
There was a standoff. I'm not trying to say it's funny, but, we had a former Tenino mayor here. It's a good Sirens Banger of the Week. The other one was Thurston County deputies, another Olympian, Olympian/Sanders, find man slumped over steering wheel clutching a pipe bomb.
I saw that. That was interesting.
Yeah, he was just passed out in his vehicle clutching a bomb. There's not a whole lot of info to it, just what Sheriff Sanders had from his visit there, but lots of excitement in your backyard these days, Wayne.
Can't keep Sheriff Sanders down.
What's with the explosive? I think, what was it, 2 weeks ago, we had the guy in Rochester they found sleeping next to a propane tank of all things, and he also had a homemade explosive.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one.
You about to turn me down on the board there?
No.
Cake's too hot for you?
Just keeping an eye on things. Jeez, I'm queuing you up now for your Chehalis Outfitters rant.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Go off.
Yeah, archery season sale. That's what we got going on at Chehalis Outfitters right now. Man, let's zoom in on some of these deals.
They've got the deals.
They do have the deals. Select rifles are $800 off up to. While supplies last, camo and hunting clothes are all 25% off. That's all in stock. Man, this is a good sale. All in stock rifle ammo, 20% off.
They've got a garlic class coming up September 20th at 10:30 a.m. and a sustainability. That sounds kind of interesting. Sustainability fair on September 27th.
Yeah, our intern's working on a little write-up of that right now, I believe.
Good.
And then lots of other stuff for sale. I'm trying to see how long this sale goes.
It goes through September 24th.
There we go.
You got weeks ahead.
Unless you're
weeks.
reading that one story about the 911 center, and then you're a day late.
It ended yesterday.
I really hope there's no one whose sense of time is tied to that article. Like they read it and they were like, "Oh, September 25th."
Tied to any article.
These days are just flying by.
All right. I think that's about all we got. You guys, do you want to cover any other news shit in there?
No, that's okay. There's lots of good stuff on there. We went out and hung out with the Onalaska aquaculture kids today, as is tradition. Tomorrow, September 16th, the California Hydrogen Car Owners Association is making a stop in Centralia.
Cool.
Which you know people on Facebook are going to enjoy that one.
They're going to be furious.
There's going to be some calm and reasoned debate over the merits of hydrogen energy that I just cannot wait to read. Glusenkamp Perez introduces bill to guarantee soldiers' right to repair equipment. Still news brief there.
I mean, that's a right everybody should have for everything.
Let's see. Oh, Sasquatch Beyond the Footprint. That's coming up. In Randall, there's a big 2-day Sasquatch event. It's going to be September 27th and September 28th with speakers and vendors. I think it's cool that they're doing it in Randall. I can't remember the last big event in Randall. I know they have them, but usually it's in Packwood or something. Mick Filer's Food Drive concert coming up as well, September 27th.
Cool.
And then we have a photo gallery, I'll leave it at this one, of the Chronicle youth soccer team taking the field in Chehalis over the weekend.
Ooh.
It's been a few years since the Chronicle has sponsored a local team, so I think it's cool that the Taylors are doing that. And if you take a look at the photos, you're going to recognize that head coach Skip there, none other than VP.
Oh, look at that! I couldn't tell if he was kneeling down or not.
Oh, that's rude. Vice President of the Chronicle, Franklin Taylor,
Frankie baby.
Amber Taylor also coaches, and yeah, the photos are fun. Dylan did a good job. I made sure to throw in a note that'll make the sports guys happy. I said, if you want to submit your own photos of youth soccer teams, go ahead and email them, and I'll handle them on Facebook.
Sure.
Because that's usually what happens. We'll cover one youth sports event, and then we're asked to cover many.
Yeah.
It just can't be done.
Yeah, and then you'll get a bunch of people posting something like, well, the Chronicle shared somebody else's photo. Why not ours? It's like, well, did you send it in? No. All right. Wayne, you've been great. Anything else you want to plug?
No, just happy to come in and hang out with you guys again.
You look great. You're doing good, man.
Thanks, you too.
You really don't look
the
like...
mustache is great.
You really don't look like the bald, not funny Bill Burr.
Although that was, I don't know if I'm funny.
Although that was a pretty good burn.
That is a great comment. Somebody on Reddit said I was like a not funny Bill Burr.
Oh, so that wasn't you that came
I
up
liked
with
it.
that. No, that's good. I love Bill Burr.
Yeah.
He's like stuck in my reels right now. The algorithm thinks I just want more Bill Burr.
And now that we mentioned it, it's just going to bump it up again.
Yeah, it'll really be
Bill
there
Burr's
now.
great. All right, in closing, we're sponsored by Summit Funding, Chehalis Outfitters, and The Roof Doctor. Leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts if you want, or if you have ever heard of Wuthering Heights, send us an email at chroniclenewsdump@gmail.com.